Chelsea have beaten Tottenham 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, and we're going to go over the main positives from today's game, from today's 2-0 victory for Chelsea at the Bridge. The starting 11 was as expected with all the injuries. This is the exact starting 11 I had in my preview, and this is how it looked on paper, or how I had it looking on paper. But instead, we saw a little bit more of that 3-2 build-up rather than that 3-3 of Gallagher dropping in. But Gallagher was still there as that +1 in build-up when we needed him to. Sometimes Palmer would come deep, Gallagher would go higher, but there was always that chance to go for that +1 and make a 3-3 during build-up. Firstly, I want to touch on Marc Cucurella, man of the match for me today. I thought he was absolutely brilliant at sustaining pressure in that midfield. Just the aggressive tenacity that he played within there. He was inverting again from left-back into midfield. He positions himself so well to receive the ball off of the likes of Caicedo and just offer little bounce passes. Nothing too tricky, just simple bounce passes to make space for others. But the most important thing about having Cucurella in there is for that rest defence purposes when we do lose the ball, and to have him in there when we are counter-pressing. We saw it for the second goal, when we won the free kick where Palmer hit the bar and Jackson turned it in. Cucurella was the player that won us that free kick, just from being in the right position during that rest defence and being aggressive to get that first foot on the ball and win the free kick. Someone else who was pivotal today, and I called this one in the preview as well, was Noni Madueke on that right-hand side, matched up against Emerson Royal at left-back for Tottenham. Not only was he causing havoc on that left-hand side, right-hand side for Chelsea, but left-hand side for Tottenham, he caused havoc. He made 4 of his 6 successful dribbles, I think it was. But more importantly, he was defensively sound and he worked his tail off to help out Gilchrist defensively against Heung-min Son, winning 8 of his 12 ground duels. He also made 2 key passes, and he had that one chance where he came inside on his left foot and narrowly put it over the bar. Pochettino was extremely happy with him today, and I can see exactly why. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Again, I thought he was brilliant against Villa, and I thought he was brilliant again today. Next up, Nicholas Jackson. Just wanted to quickly touch on him, really. More so just for that goal, but he also works his socks off all the time. He's always persistent, as Gary Neville even said. He's persistent, he never goes away, and he's always looking and lurking for that goal. He follows the ball in when nobody else does for the Palmer free kick, follows it in brilliantly, and generates the header. Generates the power on that header superbly well if you actually watch that back. He's got to generate a lot of power to get that up and over the 2 defenders and into that far corner. So that is a brilliant header. And that is a very good goal for Nicholas Jackson. That takes him up to 11 in the Premier League this season. Now let's talk about that defensive partnership. And a lot of people will want to talk about Trevor Chalobah, who got man of the match. And I thought he was very, very good today. And his goal was brilliant. And he was just, he was excellent again. But the one I really want to touch on is Benoit Badiashile. Now I do just want to point out, I thought Chalobah was very good. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Chalobah. I think he's been brilliant since he's come back into the fold. And it's not taking anything away from him, but I just wanted to shine some light on the Badiashile performance because he has actually been underperforming for a while. And this was the first time that we actually saw shades of that Badiashile from last season, in my opinion. Today, Badiashile was aggressive. He was coming out from the back line, following the attackers, and he was supporting the pressure of the midfield. He was joining them, keeping those gaps between the midfield line and the defensive line very small, very short. He was switched on, and he was always following the likes of Richarlison, Johnson, keeping their back to goal and keeping them facing their own goal, which helped us a lot, forcing Tottenham back and not allowing them to sustain any pressure in our half of the pitch. I thought the tenacity and the aggression from both Badiashile and Chalobah was brilliant today, and that's what we want to see more of in the future, backing up that midfield press with those 2, keeping that gap nice and tight between the midfield and the defensive lines. The fourth thing I wanted to speak about was this duo in the middle of the park, Caicedo and Gallagher, and you can also throw Cucurella in there in possession, when he's inverting. But the duels that these guys are winning, Caicedo winning 9 out of 11 ground duels, Gallagher winning 8 out of 17 ground duels, and then you add the 9 out of 9 from Cucurella. The ability to counter-press teams when you have all 3 of these in the middle of the park, it's more so to do with the condition you're putting them in and how close together they are. By having Cucurella inverted, he's almost protecting Gallagher every time Gallagher jumps out, then you've got Cucurella there. If Caicedo presses, you've still got Cucurella in a central area that he can also back up the press. So having them in this tight-knit condition, 3 players that can all be aggressive and win the ball back, and very consistently, it allows Chelsea to win the ball, and especially playing in such a high-intensity way that Pochettino wants to play, it just suits it to a T, having these guys in the middle of the park, where they can win the ball back and kickstart attacks from that. And lastly, I just wanted to talk through this image because I just think it encapsulates the game really well. Madueke finding that 1v1 isolation where he was giving Emerson Royale a headache all game long. Cucurella in the middle of the park. He's actually going ahead of Gallagher in this instance to attack the space. Gallagher's actually behind him, but it shows that there's a bit of versatility on who can attack that space. And just those two positions, for me, they were the best two players on the pitch today. Chalobah was very good as well, as he got man of the match, and of course he scored the goal. I was very impressed with Badiashile, as I said, but for me, I would have gone Cucurella man of the match, and then Noni Madueke, second best player on the pitch for me. Both were excellent, and this is exactly why the reasons that I've said today. I think they were both brilliant, and I think they both helped the system so much today. So I'll leave you with this message from Pochettino about how happy he was with today's performance. The first time that after 10 months the team start to realise that we need to compete, and today we competed really well. So he was happy with the performance. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below and drop a like for that amazing victory. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.